The alarm bells rang through the station like a scream. HFY heard them echo down the metal corridors as red lights flashed above her head. She was in the communications room on Orbital Station 7 when everything changed. One moment she was checking systems. The next moment the whole building shook. Explosions happened somewhere far below, then closer, then everywhere. The Krell were coming. She was only 23 years old, but HFY had trained her whole life for this moment. Her mother was a military commander. Her father was a soldier. Fighting was in her blood. Now as the station shook around her, she moved fast and smart. She grabbed her weapon and ran toward the command center where Captain Minsu Park was organizing the defense. Other soldiers were running too, moving through the smoke and heat like ghosts. Nobody knew exactly how strong the Krell were. The Krell were aliens from a star system far away. They had been traveling through space for thousands of years, conquering every planet they found. Their ships were huge and powerful. Their weapons could destroy entire cities. Earth had received warnings about them for months, but nobody truly believed they would come. Earth was too small. Humans were too weak. The Krell had never failed in any battle. HFY. Captain Park's voice was loud and clear. She found him in the command center, looking at screens that showed ships coming toward them. His face was calm, but his eyes were afraid. The main attack force is at the North Station. We have about 10 minutes to get the important files off the main computer. After that, we need to evacuate. Can you do it? She nodded. She always nodded when a superior officer gave her an order. Yes, sir. I will get the files. Where do you need me to go? Captain Park pointed to a corridor. Go to the south server room. Take 3 soldiers with you. Download everything about our defenses, our weapons, our strategy. Then get to the escape shuttle at the south dock. Do not wait for anyone. Do you understand? HFY understood. She took 2 other soldiers, Kim and Daejun, and ran. They moved through corridors that were getting darker and hotter. The sounds of fighting came from somewhere close. Guns were firing. People were screaming. The Krell ships were landing outside the station. Everything was chaos. When they reached the south server room, HFY started the download immediately. The files were transferring to a small computer chip. The download showed 90 seconds remaining. 80 seconds, 70. Her heart was beating very fast. She could hear boots running in the hallway outside. The Krell soldiers were coming. We have to go. Kim shouted. He was pointing his gun at the door. They are coming. Wait, not yet, HFY said. Her voice was steady. The download showed 30 seconds, 20, 10. Finally, it was done. She pulled the chip from the computer and put it in her pocket. Now we go, now. They ran toward the south dock as fast as they could move. Behind them, they heard the sound of the Krell. The aliens were tall and strong. Their armor was thick and black. Their weapons made sounds like thunder. One of them saw Kim running and fired. Kim fell down and did not get up again. HFY kept running. Daejun was still with her, running and running. The south dock was empty. The escape shuttle was there, but the door was already closed. Daejun was shouting at the pilot inside to open it. The pilot's face appeared in the window. He was shaking his head. I have to leave. There are too many Krell. I have to leave. No! Daejun was pounding on the shuttle door. Let us in. Let us in. The shuttle started moving. It was leaving without them. HFY watched it go. She watched her chance to escape disappear into space. Behind her, she could hear the Krell getting closer. She had seconds to decide what to do. She could run and hide. She could fight and probably die. Or she could let them capture her. Daejun was still running, trying to find another way, but HFY stopped. She put her weapon down on the ground. She put her hands in the air. This was a choice she was making. She was choosing to be captured. Maybe they would kill her. Maybe she would find a way to escape later. But right now, she needed to live. Right now, she needed to stay alive long enough to understand the Krell. The Krell soldiers came into the dock. They were even bigger than they looked on the screens. Their armor covered their whole bodies. Their eyes were black and cold. They looked at HFY like she was not even real, like she was just a small animal they had found. One of them raised his weapon, but another one stopped him. They were speaking in a language that did not sound like any language, clicking and whistling sounds, strange and rough. They grabbed her with hands that were hard like rocks. They put something on her wrists that felt cold and tight. Then they took her away from the dock. As they moved through the station, HFY could see everything. She could see the Krell weapons. She could see how many of them there were. She could see their ship through the windows. It was huge and terrifying, but she was looking at everything, remembering everything, thinking about everything. In her pocket, the small computer chip with all of Earth's secret information was safe. The Krell did not know it was there. The Krell did not search her carefully. They did not think she was important. She was just a young human girl, weak and small. The Krell had destroyed 17 planets before. They had never been stopped. They did not think one human girl could ever matter. But HFY was thinking. As they took her deeper into their ship, she was learning. She was watching. She was becoming a student of her enemy. And somewhere in her heart, a small seed of hope was growing. Not the hope that she would escape. Not the hope that she would survive. The hope that maybe, just maybe, she could understand something that the Krell did not understand about themselves. Maybe she could find their weakness. Maybe she could turn this capture into something else entirely. The Krell had made a mistake. They had captured her. But they did not know what they had captured. They would find out soon enough. The Krell ship was nothing like anything HFY had ever seen. It was dark inside, lit only by strange lights that were not quite blue and not quite green. The walls were smooth and hard. The air felt different. It was cold and dry. Everything smelled like metal and something burned. Her guards walked her through long hallways. Other Krell were everywhere. Some were wearing different armor. Some were looking at screens with their hands moving very fast. Everyone stopped and looked at her as she passed. They took her to a cell. It was small and empty. The walls were metal. The floor was metal. There was a sleeping area that was just raised metal with no blanket. There was a hole in the corner for a toilet. The door was thick and locked. There were no windows, only a small opening at the top where they could watch her. HFY sat down and waited. She did not know what else to do. Time passed slowly. She did not know if it was hours or days. There was no day or night in the cell. The lights never changed. They brought her food twice, maybe 3 times. The food was not like human food. It was thick and gray and tasted strange. Not bad, just very different. Nobody talked to her. The Krell guards just opened the door, put the food down, and left. Then finally someone came. The door opened and a tall Krell walked in. He was taller than the others HFY had seen. His armor had marks on it that looked like symbols. His eyes were darker than the other Krell eyes. He looked at HFY and made a sound that was like laughing, but it was harsh and did not sound happy at all. It sounded like metal scraping metal. "You are the human," he said. His voice was deep and rough. "I am Commander Vexthul. I command the fleet that has taken this station and soon will take all of your world. Do you know who I am?" HFY did not answer. She was looking at him carefully, looking at his armor, looking at the weapon on his side, looking at the way he stood, trying to remember everything. "Your silence will not help you," the commander said. "I will ask you questions. You will answer them. If you do not answer, bad things will happen. Do you understand?" HFY nodded slowly. She knew this was an interrogation. She knew she needed to be careful. She had been trained to handle this, but the training seemed very far away right now. The commander started asking questions. How many soldiers were on the station? Where was Earth's main military base? How many weapons did Earth have? What was the name of Earth's government leader? HFY answered some questions with lies mixed with truth. Some questions she answered with "I do not know." The commander seemed interested in the answers but did not seem angry when she did not answer everything correctly. "Your species is very fragile," the commander said as he walked around her cell. "You have been a civilization for only 10,000 of your years. We have been a civilization for 100,000 of our years. We have conquered 17 planets. 17! Every species we have ever fought has fallen to us. And now we have captured one of you. It is quite funny, actually. You are like children. Small, weak children with toys that go boom." He was laughing. The other Krell guards were laughing too. That harsh metal scraping sound. HFY did not react. She just looked at him. And as she looked at him, she started understanding something important. The commander was not worried about her at all. He thought she was funny. He thought she was cute in a way, like a small pet animal. He did not think she could ever hurt him. He did not think she could ever be a real threat. "What is your name, little human?" the commander asked. HFY, she said. Her voice was quiet and small. HFY, that is a funny name. It sounds like wind noise, very suitable for such a small creature. He was smiling. His teeth were black.
I'm going to keep you alive for now, HFY.
You will be useful. You can help me understand your species. How does it feel to know that your world will soon belong to the Krell? How does it feel to know that your people are already defeated? HFY did not answer, but inside her mind something was happening. She was starting to see the problem. The Krell had never met anyone who could truly fight them. They had only fought weaker species that gave up quickly. They did not know what it meant to face an enemy that would never stop. An enemy that would learn from every failure. An enemy that understood something about survival that the Krell did not understand. After the commander left, HFY stayed in her cell. She was still looking and watching and thinking. She saw other Krell pass her door. She heard them talking in their language. She started learning patterns. The guards changed every few hours. Different commanders gave different orders. Some areas of the ship had more weapons. Some areas had more guards. Some areas were just empty and quiet. She began to understand something else. The Krell were not as strong as they thought they were. They were strong with their weapons and their armor, yes. But they were weak in other ways. They were lazy. They did not think carefully. They did not plan for the unexpected. They believed that anyone who was not as strong as them was automatically defeated. They did not understand the power of will. They did not understand the power of not giving up. One day, or what she thought was a day, a different guard came. This guard had a small computer. He was looking at something on it. He stood too close to the door. HFY could see the screen. It was showing star charts. It was showing Krell fleet positions. It was showing supply lines. It was showing communication codes. And in that single moment, as the guard stood there, HFY saw something that changed everything. She saw the Krell's weakness. She saw it completely. She just needed a chance to act on what she had learned. The Krell thought they were invincible. They were wrong. And soon, HFY would make them understand just how wrong they were. She would not escape through force. She would escape through knowledge. And when she did, the entire war would change. It had been many days in the cell. HFY was not sure how many anymore. She had stopped counting. But she had been learning the patterns. Learning the guard changes. Learning when the ship was busy and when it was quiet. Learning where the important places were on the ship. And she was getting ready. The day came when a new guard was assigned to her section. This guard was younger than the others. He seemed less alert. He spent more time looking at the walls than looking at his prisoners. This was the moment HFY had been waiting for. When he opened the door to bring food, HFY was ready. She had been practicing movements in the small cell for days. Movements that did not look like fighting. Just stretching. Just moving. Building her strength slowly. The guard did not see her as a threat. He was just putting the food down. HFY moved faster than she had ever moved before. She went for his neck, but not to hurt him. She went for a pressure point that she remembered from her training. A human trainer had once shown her where, on any creature with a neck, you could press and make them unconscious. The Krell had necks. The Krell had weak spots. They just did not know it. The guard fell down without making a sound. He was still alive, but he was not awake. HFY took his weapon. It was heavy and hot. She did not know how to use it exactly. But she had watched the Krell hold their weapons many times. She knew which button to push to make the lights show that it was ready to fire. She moved into the hallway. Her heart was beating so fast she thought it would break through her chest. The hallway was empty. That was good. But she needed to get to the communication center. She needed to send a message to Captain Minsu Park on Earth. She needed to tell him what she had learned about the Krell. She needed to tell him their weaknesses. This was why she had let herself be captured. This was why she had waited. She had studied the ship's layout when they brought her in. She had paid attention to which direction was which. The communication center should be on the upper level. She moved through the hallways carefully. She kept her weapon ready, but she did not want to use it. Using it would alert everyone. Using it would make them come looking for her. She needed to be quiet for as long as possible. Then she saw two guards coming around a corner. She ducked into a dark space between some equipment. They did not see her. They passed right by. She waited for her heart to stop beating so loud. Then she kept moving. The communication center was protected. There was a heavy door with a lock. But HFY had noticed something about Krell technology. They had patterns. The codes they used were patterns. The things they touched had patterns. She had watched long enough to learn some of the patterns. She tried a code. The door did not open. She tried another. Still nothing. She tried a third code, the one she had seen used most often. The door opened. Inside there were computers and screens everywhere. There was one Krell inside looking at screens. He saw her and started to move, but HFY was faster. She hit him in the same pressure point on the neck. He fell down like the other one. Still alive, still breathing, just unconscious. Now came the hard part. HFY needed to hack into the Krell system. She needed to find a way to send a message through their communications. She did not know if she could do this. She was not an expert in computers, but she had to try. She sat down at the console and started looking. The systems were different from human systems, but not completely different. Different was still just data. Different was still just information. She found the communication protocols. She found the open channels. Then she remembered the codes Captain Park had taught all the soldiers. Emergency codes, codes that only humans knew. She typed them in. A connection appeared on the screen. She was connected to Earth. She started recording everything she knew. She spoke fast. She said the Krell fleet positions. She said the Krell weapon systems. She said that the Krell could not adapt to new situations. She said that their supply lines were long and weak. She said that they believed in strength so much that they forgot about strategy. She said that they had conquered 17 planets, but they had never faced an enemy that refused to lose. If you use guerrilla tactics, she said into the recording, if you hit them where they are weak, if you make them chase you instead of letting them attack you, they will fail. They do not know how to fail. They do not know how to change their plan when the first plan does not work. They will break. She uploaded the message. She uploaded all the data she had stored in her memory. Then she uploaded the computer chip from her pocket, the one with Earth's defense plans, which she had managed to copy into the Krell system as well. Now Earth would have both sides. Now Earth would understand the Krell. She heard alarms start to sound. They had discovered her escape. They knew where she was. But it did not matter anymore. The message was sent. The information was transmitted. The Krell were going to hunt her now, but they did not know yet that she had already done what she needed to do. HFY ran. She ran through the hallways as fast as her legs could carry her. She knew they would catch her. She knew they might kill her. But it did not matter anymore, because somewhere on Earth Captain Minsu Park was receiving her message, and soon everything was going to change. The game was going to change. The war was going to change. The Krell thought they had captured a weak human girl, but they had actually captured someone who understood something much more important than strength. She had captured the future of humanity. And now it was time to deliver it. Captain Minsu Park was in the underground command center when the message came through. At first he thought it was a false signal. Then he heard HFY's voice and he knew it was real. He listened to everything she said. He studied every piece of data she had sent, and slowly a new plan began to form in his mind. She is right, he said to the other officers around him. The Krell are strong, yes, but HFY is correct. They do not understand tactics. They do not understand the kind of fighting that goes on for a long time with many small attacks. They only understand big battles where they win immediately. He started organizing a new defense. It was not a defense at all, actually. It was an offense. A slow offense. A smart offense. Instead of trying to fight the Krell ships directly, the humans used the information HFY had given them. They found the supply ships. They found the communication relays. They found the weak points in the Krell positions, and they started hitting them one by one night after night. A supply ship carrying food and water for the Krell army disappeared. The Krell did not understand where it went. Then another supply ship disappeared. Then a communication relay stopped working. Then a Krell patrol base was attacked by humans and forced to retreat. Small things, individual things. But altogether, they started to weaken the Krell position. Commander Vexthul was getting frustrated. This was not how wars were supposed to go. His soldiers were supposed to be superior. They were supposed to win every battle. But now, for the first time in 100 battles on 100 planets, the Krell were not winning cleanly. They were winning small battles, but they were losing supplies. They were winning fights, but they were not destroying their enemy, and their enemy was still standing. Attack the cities, the commander ordered. Show these humans what real power looks like. But Captain Park was ready for this. He had moved the cities. Or rather, he had moved the people. The major populations were hidden underground in deep caves and shelters. The Krell attacked empty cities. They used their big weapons and destroyed buildings and streets. But they destroyed nothing that mattered. Because the humans were not there. The humans were underground, watching, planning, waiting for the next move. Days became weeks. Weeks became months. The Krell had come to conquer Earth in one quick strike. But now it was becoming a long war. A war that the Krell did not know how to fight. And with each day that passed, the humans got stronger. New weapons appeared. Humans had been studying the data HFY had sent. They understood now how Krell armor worked. They understood the frequencies that Krell communications used. They began building weapons that could penetrate the armor. They began sending false messages that confused the Krell commanders. They began using tactics that the Krell had never seen before. The Krell soldiers began to feel afraid. In all their history, they had never felt afraid. They had never lost battles. They had never had to retreat. But now they were retreating. Now they were losing soldiers. Now they were wondering if maybe they were not invincible after all. HFY, still on the Krell ship, could feel something changing. The ship was receiving messages from commanders who were worried. Supplies were running low. Several military bases had been destroyed. The invasion, which had been going so well, was now facing problems. Big problems. The guards who had recaptured her and locked her up again were less confident now. They watched her cell with less attention. They seemed distracted. They seemed afraid. HFY could hear them talking in their language. She had learned enough Krell words to understand some of what they were saying. They were talking about going home. They were talking about this war being different from the others. They were talking about humans being more dangerous than they had thought. Commander Vexthal came to see her again. But this time he was different. His voice was not confident. His eyes were not certain. "Your species is more dangerous than we thought," he said. "But it does not matter. The Krell do not retreat. The Krell do not surrender. We will burn your world. We will destroy every city. Eventually, you will have nothing left to defend." But even as he said it, HFY could see the doubt in him. The doubt was small, but it was there. And in that moment she realized something important. The Krell were not invincible. The Krell were strong, yes. The Krell had power, yes. But they did not have something that humans had. They did not have the ability to keep fighting even when things looked impossible. They did not have hope. They did not have the will to never give up. And without that, no amount of strength mattered. Outside, on Earth and in the skies above Earth, the battle continued. The Krell attacked, but they were weaker now. The humans defended, and they were stronger. And slowly, surely, the tide of war was turning. Not because humans were stronger than Krell, but because humans understood something the Krell never would. Humans understood that a true predator does not stop. A true predator learns. A true predator adapts. A true predator never believes that one loss means the war is over. And as the weeks passed, the Krell began to realize what they had never realized before. They were not fighting against a weak species. They were fighting against something much worse. They were fighting against their own worst nightmare. They were fighting against a true apex predator. The final battle came when everyone knew it had to come. The Krell fleet was damaged. Their supply lines were broken. Their soldiers were tired and afraid. The humans had grown strong and confident. Captain Min-Soo Park ordered a final assault on the main Krell battleship. It was a risky move. It was also the only move that made sense. HFY was still a prisoner on that battleship. She had been locked in her cell for so long that she had almost forgotten what freedom felt like. But she had not forgotten her mission. She had not forgotten why she had allowed herself to be captured in the first place. When the alarm started to sound, when the ship started to shake from human weapons hitting its hull, HFY knew that this was the moment. The guards who watched her were frightened. They were listening to reports coming through their communication devices. The humans were attacking. Multiple human ships were striking the battleship. The shields were failing. The engines were damaged. This was not supposed to happen. The Krell were not supposed to lose. But they were losing. One guard made a mistake. He was so worried about the attack that he forgot to lock HFY's cell properly. She waited for the right moment. Then she moved. She was stronger now than she had been before. Captivity and captive movements had kept her fit. She moved like a ghost. She took down the first guard with pressure points. She took down the second guard the same way. Then she had weapons and she was moving through the ship again, just like she had done before. The ship was chaos now. Human weapons were striking everywhere. Krell soldiers were running to defense positions. Nobody noticed one small human girl moving through the hallways. Nobody was paying attention to the cell block anymore. She moved toward the command center. She knew where it was. She had learned the ship's layout long ago. When she arrived, she found Commander Vexthal standing at his command console, watching his fleet fall apart around him. His armor was cracked. His voice was angry. He was ordering his remaining ships to fight, to attack, to not retreat. But his orders did not matter anymore. His soldiers were not listening. His soldiers were dying. "You," the commander said when he saw her. His hand went to his weapon, but he stopped. Maybe he was too tired to fight. Maybe he already knew that she had won. The prisoner. "You escaped again. How many times will you cause trouble?" "As many times as I need to," HFY said. Her voice was calm and quiet. "Captain Park, I have the command center. The battleship is yours." Human soldiers started coming into the command center. They had landed on the ship. They had fought through the Krell defenses. Now they were here and they were ready to finish this. But Captain Park stopped them. He wanted to speak with HFY first. He wanted to hear from her. He wanted to understand what she had learned. He came into the command center and stood in front of Commander Vexthal. The alien was tall and strong, but he looked small now. He looked defeated. He looked like someone who had just realized that everything he believed was wrong. HFY stood next to Captain Park. She looked at the commander. She wanted him to understand. She wanted him to know what had beaten him. She wanted him to tell the galaxy what had beaten him. "You said we were weak," HFY said. "You said we were children. You said we were prey. You were right about one thing. You were right that we were not as strong as you, not in the way you measure strength. But you were wrong about everything else." The commander said nothing. He just listened. "You call yourselves apex predators," HFY continued, "but you do not understand what that means. You think it means being strong. You think it means having the biggest weapons and the thickest armor. You think it means never losing. But that is not what apex predator means. Apex predator means something else. It means being smart. It means learning from every failure. It means never giving up, even when the enemy is bigger than you. It means understanding your enemy better than they understand themselves." She walked closer to him. "On my world, we evolved alongside predators that were bigger than us, faster than us, stronger than us. We could not win through strength. So we learned to win through thinking. We learned to hunt things 10 times our size by understanding their behavior. We learned to use tools. We learned to work together. We learned to never stop trying. You have conquered 17 planets," HFY said. "But on every single planet, your enemy surrendered after they saw your strength. They gave up. They did not know how to be predators. They did not know how to fight an enemy stronger than them. But we do. That is what makes us different. That is what makes us what you should have feared from the beginning." Commander Vexthal said nothing for a long time. Then slowly he understood. Really understood. He had not lost to a stronger enemy. He had lost to a smarter enemy. He had lost to an enemy that wanted it more. He had lost to an enemy that would never stop. And that was something he could never defeat, because the Krell did not understand that kind of fighting. The Krell only understood strength, and strength was not always enough. "What will you do with us?" the commander asked. His voice was quiet now. "Almost broken," Captain Park answered. "You will leave. Your fleet will leave our world. You will go back to your empire and tell them what happened here. Tell them that we are not what you thought we were. Tell them that we are apex predators. Tell them not to come back. Tell them to fear humanity." And that is what happened. The Krell fleet, broken and defeated, left Earth. The ships that were still working carried the wounded and the survivors back to Krell space. And as they left, the message went with them. The galaxy learned that a new force had arrived. Humans were not easy to conquer. Humans were not prey. Humans were predators. Apex predators HFY became famous on Earth. She was called a hero. But she did not feel like a hero. She felt like someone who had done what she had to do, someone who had understood something important about what it meant to be human. She had shown the Krell, and now everyone knew. The humans would never surrender. The humans would never stop fighting. The humans would never accept defeat. And from that day forward, the galaxy knew one important truth. You could be strong and still lose. You could be powerful and still fall. But if you were an apex predator, If you could think and learn and adapt, if you would never give up, then nothing in the universe could defeat you. Not really. Not ever. Humanity had arrived, and everything was about to change.